Well, hello again. We are now on fleet as promised, and let's take a quick look here at this insanely dynamic rotation that we've got here on the Mercenary / Commando. Let's not forget the Commando with the gunnery spec is identical to rotation, and the whole mindset of its combat style as the Mercenary is. Alright, so let's get started here. We will start with a priming shot, followed with the tracer missile, blazing bolts, to the heat seekers. Now this is the bare bones. It is how you must follow up on those rotations in order to reap the benefits from them. Now, let's just cover this and then I'll follow up with how flexible the rotation is. And now, tracer, blazing bolts, that is. And there we go. So as you noticed here on the tray, every time I would hit one of these abilities, it would light up. That's why one sets another ability up, setting another ability up, setting your big ability up. Now that said, this is the order they need to be used in. You can't use them backwards. Won't work. Well, they'll still fire, but they're not going to reap the benefits from one setting the other up, and so on and so forth. Now, before I go on to how flexible and how dynamic this rotation is, I think it's important to mention all the little nuances that they've entered into this class, such as the supercharged gas. Often you will watch my videos and I am just using my Colto shot over and over. Now if you look here above my avatar, I have got my supercharged stacking up 5, 6, so on and so forth, until my supercharged gas here gets procced at 10 stacks. So this is, if we read its description, requires and converts 10 stacks of supercharged to vent 10 heat and increase armor penetration by 10% for 8 seconds. While active, damage dealt by tracer missile, heat seeker missiles, blazing bolts, and priming shots grants supercharged velocity, which increases the alacrity by 1%. This effect cannot occur more than once per second and can stack up to 3 times. This is a very, very beneficial effect, and I stress that you need to use this. This supercharged gas stacks up not just with the Colto shot. I use this while I'm out of combat, or if I seriously need to stretch my lifespan that much longer. And the benefits are to charge the supercharged gas. Your other abilities, you've got the rapid shots that will also stack this up. So let me use it, and I'll go through the rotation again. And there we go, heat seekers. And now my basic attack, if you look carefully down here, I'm up to 2 stacks, 3, 4. See again, very important. For my playing style anyways, it is a must to have that ability on my tray. Because when you're in a mess of things, no matter what map, and you're just constantly firing, which is another point that I need to stress. At first, any class, especially if you're a new player, it's going to get confusing in combat. You're going to be like, what ability am I going to need to hit, blah, 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 blah. And it takes time, okay? Very few players grasp this PvP style specifically, like on the first combat scene. You need practice. Someone who's played the Merc for a while and is just struggling, no one's there to explain things for you, you'll get it. And you'll understand it, and you'll figure out how to set up your own trays, because the way I've got my ability trays set up is very personal to me. I use a gaming mouse called the Razer Naga. Those of you that have one know exactly, just understood now why I've got my trays set up like this, because this shape of buttons is identical to what I've got under my right thumb on the mouse itself. So it's very convenient to have it positioned like this, or set up this way for me. You'll note that in different videos, other people are using just straight up ability bars, and I'm a visual guy, so I figured set it up visually, and this is how it ended up. Excuse me. Okay, so that being said, we've covered the basic rotation here and some of the ideas of the stacks that you need to build up. Yeah, it's very difficult to actually explain successfully how to use this class because all of its abilities are so, you hear me say it over and over again, it's so dynamic, meaning that it's very flexible. So long as you respect this chain of 4 abilities, you can, start with the tracer, priming shot, electro dart, net someone, follow up with that ability, not the channel one, but there we go, blazing bolts. So long as you respect the order that you fire them in, you're going to reap the benefits from it. And you fill in the blanks as they are required. You've noted, possibly if you've watched other of my videos, I like to open up in a crowd in a sense. God, that sounds like, flashing. But anyways, I like to open up on a crowd with AoEs. And the closer they are together, the better, because I will use my power surge, which will make my next channeled ability that's got a channel time or an activation time, like, see, the tracer missile. If I use straight up the tracer missile, there's an activation time. That's the progression bar you just saw there. The power surge will forego that activation time. It'll make those abilities activate instantly. And that is why I like, let's say in a Void Star, half the other team is defending that door, but they're all clustered together. I will hit my power surge and my fusion bomb, my fusion missile, because that's a nice AoE. It doesn't do much damage, but hey, if you're doing damage, that's what counts. And I open up with that. It's instant. It didn't cost me anything, and it's not an ability that's going to kill much, but it adds to the numbers. And let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a game about numbers. And I don't mean about damage numbers. I mean about enemy numbers and your teammates. Very few experienced players will be able to go up versus 3 and survive. That is extremely rare. Unless you're, again, it's very situational. If you're facing 3 absolute noobs, new players, you stand very good chances of coming out of it alive and ending up with 3 solo kills. But in endgame content, that's highly unlikely. Let's be perfectly honest with that. So, you want to help everybody else kill their targets, as well as your own, that much faster. AoEs is there for that. Use them. When there's more than one enemy and they're close together, you want to use your instant AoEs, i.e. Power Surge, Fusion Missile, Explosive Dart. If you've gone through your entire rotation and you've got the time, Death from Above. This is a channel time. It's not an activation time. This is an ability that needs to go through its entire animation to cause its full effect. It's not like the fusion missile where it's just, setting up to launch a fusion bomb at someone. Death from Above has different animations. You can't just Death from Above and then follow up, because you just missed out on about 12k of damage, if not more, all depending on how many enemies are within that 8-meter range. So, very situational. All right, so that being said, we've covered the supercharged gas, the basic rotation. Next up is going to be videos of different combat scenes that I've been in. And I'm going to focus, I'm actually going to try and slow down some of the videos that you can see the activation time, how I'm selecting my other targets, which targets I'm selecting, and why. And that hopefully will give you a better understanding of the combat style of this class. So once again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe.